Hey guys, Nate here with the Volunteer Tech Vlog on the Live Sound 101 YouTube channel. This will be a media report for June 26, 2016. Got my notes here. I'm going to read through them. So I do these media report type videos for my own mental health, to document what happened today, and for anyone out there who could possibly learn from any of this information. So the Sanctuary Right display had no signal. And our system is set up so that the signal from ProPresenter goes to a DVI distribution amp, and then it hits three sets of transmit receivers to send the DVI signal long distance over CAT cable, and then it goes to the displays. So one of those three displays was out, and they were all being fed from this distribution amp. So that was the first thing that told me that, you know, splitting the signal chain in half. Nothing's wrong with ProPresenter. There's no configuration there that needs to be changed, because the DA was working, and it was working with 2 out of 3 displays, just not the third. So there's probably nothing wrong with the DA if it's working on 2 of the displays. You know, it would be very rare for one channel of the DVI DA to go out. So I didn't think it was a DA. So then I looked down the signal chain a little further and saw our Extron DTP DVI 330s. So we've got these transmit receive pairs that are of the Extron variety. That's a brand of Pro AV manufacturer, which we are using here. It's kind of a commercial solution. It's more on the commercial side than it is on the broadcast side, but it's the equipment that I'm familiar with, so that's what we went with. And so the red flag was 2 out of the 3 transmitters had a green LED illuminated on them. 1 out of the 3 had an amber LED illuminated on it, right? And, you know, coincidentally, the one with the amber LED illuminated was the one feeding the display with no signal. So I went to that transmit receiver, I unplugged the CAT cable, plugged it back in. Still, the LED still said, still read at amber signal. Next thing I did was power cycle that specific transmitter. So I unplugged the Phoenix connector, or the Euro plug, as some people call them. It's just like a two position connector. Unplugged it off the back, waited about 5 to 10 seconds, plugged it back in. It came up with a green LED, and I looked up and the signal was restored. Voila. So a little bit of troubleshooting. It probably took me about 2 minutes to diagnose that and do a quick troubleshooting. Just experience with this kind of stuff. You just kind of learn to, you know, turn it off, turn it on again, and, you know, hope for the best. So when you're working on a budget, that kind of stuff matters. So anyway, the problem was the right Sanctuary display was not detecting a signal. Power cycled the transmitter, and everything was happy again. So that was the first thing. The next thing was we were using the backup audio system. So we dusted off the Mackie CFX MKII 20-channel mixer. And that was all set up because we had thought SAC had failed, or we were getting this, what we call intermittent noise in the system. And come to find out, the intermittent noise was a symptom of a very specific problem. And we realized this morning that that problem was a timecode error. So we were having problems with timecode syncing between multiple devices, and the master clock just needed to be reset. So I went to the back of Behringer Unit A, and there's a switch where you can select 44.1 kilohertz, or 48 kilohertz, or you can set it in those are the master settings. Then there's 2 slave settings. You can set it to ADAT in or word clock in. So I set Unit A, which is the master, to 44.1. I toggled that out of master mode and back into master mode, and all the other Behringers are set to be a slave to look at the ADAT in for timecode. Left those all the same, and once I toggled that, the intermittent noise went away. So it was the root cause, we think at this point, was a timecode error. I didn't think it was going to be a timecode error because it was pretty crazy, all the noise and the popping and the clicking and the static. It just sounded awful. I'm like, there's no way that could be a word clock, but it was a word clock error. So anyway, we had plugged everything into this backup system because we thought the problem was much more serious. So I still went ahead and used the backup system because it would have taken too much time to switch the whole snake over and get everything, set the gain staging properly and switch everything back over. So I just went with the backup system. And with the backup system, man, that's a blast from the past. Without being able to remotely control that analog board up there, it's like you got to run downstairs, make a tweak, run downstairs, listen, run back up a flight of stairs, make a tweak, run back downstairs, listen, run back up, make another tweak, and then you got to go to the overflow and do the same thing, right? So for now, anyway, we have a very simplified backup system where there's actually only 2 mixes. We normally have 5 mixes, but we just said, you know what? This is a temporary thing. Let's just send the main mix everywhere. And it is what it is, and it's a compromise, but it's a temporary compromise until we get the system switched over. So I'm going to work with Josh and try to get the software audio console, the main system, back up and running again, move all the cabling over. It'll probably take us a couple hours to get everything put back to normal. So that was the next thing I had on my list. The other thing, even though I wasn't using SAC and it wasn't in the signal chain, I had software audio console pulled up on the screen and I was monitoring it all during the service just to see if that word clock error, the time code error, the intermittent noise manifested itself again in the background. And I went live with the system, even though it was not physically connected, and I didn't see anything happening. And on Friday night when we were testing this stuff out, the problem was definitely there, even when it was not hooked up to anything. So we think we found the smoking gun. We forced the system into a failure mode, and we got the noise, and then I reset the word clock, and the noise went away. So we think that everything is good to go. I think we've tested and we've verified that was in fact the problem, and we have verified that we do in fact know a fix to that problem. We can force it into a failed mode, and then we can correct that failed mode. So I feel pretty good about where we are right now. You say what you want about Behringer, maybe if we had a higher quality device we wouldn't have this problem, but who knows. I feel pretty good about at least understanding the technology now, and if this happens again, being able to fix it pretty quickly. And then the next big thing was that I'm gonna get driving here. The next big thing was that we had no internet connection. So not sure. So we've got a router that's dishing out IP addresses and doing a little bit of DHCP serving, if you will, to assign these dynamic IP addresses based on the gear that's on the network. And I think there's a problem over there. I think that router just needs to be reset or something, because we weren't getting any internet connectivity over in the media loft. And luckily Seth brought the slides with him on a USB drive instead of relying on the hot folder to sync from our Google Drive hot folder in Pro Presenter. That's a great workflow if you have reliable internet. You can just use a hot folder to sync files to your production PC. Love that workflow. But if you lose the internet connection and you're relying on that, it can be a problem. So that's definitely something to think about. Always nice to have a little USB drive in your pocket and pull that out and just stick that in. So we need to do some troubleshooting on the internet, get that back up and running again. And then the last thing was I took a little clip of just for old time's sake, a little throwback to what it was like working on a physical 20-channel mixer and actually being able to touch the faders and push the mutes. I mean, we're working in software audio console. Everything is it's all digital. It's all controlled with a mouse and keyboard. So it was a little bit nostalgic to have a fader that I could push up and down. I was kind of like, my mind was actually blown, because I haven't had that in a while. So it's almost like getting on a bike when you haven't ridden a bike in a long time. And so anyway, I'll leave you with a little clip, little throwback to the backup system that we had to dust off. And I will see you in the next video. But here's that clip. Well, here's a blast from the past using the backup system this week. This is our Mackie, the CFX MKII, little 20-channel mixer, because we had some problems with word clock, and we got those problems figured out. But it's Sunday morning and the backup system was still plugged in, so I figured, you know what, let's just go with the backup system for one more day. So this is a blast from the past right now, using this old school Mackie. One thing I don't like about it is that there's no lights here for the mute and solo and mute and unmute. You know, the thing I don't like about this design is there's no LED, so you can't easily tell. You know, I mean, see that? I mean, that's an open channel, and it's just not. It'd be nice to have an LED to see if it was muted or unmuted.